So here we go. We're on 3B.6 quadratic equations and problem solving. This is our last section. This is our last section of this unit, and it's the word problem. So we're going to do, even though it's a solve, we're going to first start off just talking about what it's asking and how to set up certain things. And go from there. So typically when you are working a word problem, you want to read the problem, mark the text, identify variables, create expressions and equations, and solve using algebraic methods, meaning multiply, add, divide, subtract, inverse operations, factoring, all of that into one, right? Now, up first, this is just a general statement. It's not asking you to solve anything, but it's making sure that we're comfortable setting it up. Does that make sense? Okay, it says the length and width of a rectangle whose width is half the measure of the length. A big thing for this for Algebra 2 is being able to set up word problems, okay? It's not necessarily wanting you to solve, it's just wanting you to be able to set up and generate it, okay? So we're going to mark the text. We have a rectangle, and the width is half the measurement of the length. Anytime it says is, you want to think of this as a equal mark. So W is W equals. Does that make sense? All right. So we're going to draw our rectangle. We're going to label what we know. So this is our width. This is our length. And we know that our width is, so W is half of our length. Does that make sense? So that's interpreting what's being given to you. From here, it may ask you, how would you find the perimeter? How would you find the area, right? So if I was looking for perimeter, going back to elementary school, perimeter of a rectangle is 2 times the length plus the width. Does that ring a bell? Yes. So if I needed to create an equation of the perimeter for this situation, I would plug in what I know. My P equals 2. What's L? Well, L is L, but what is W? 1/2 of L plus 1/2 L. Okay, so when I simplify this, I'm distributing the 2. So my perimeter formula for this rectangle would be 2L plus L. Correct? And what's 2L plus L? 3L. So my perimeter would equal 3 times whatever the length is. But could I go any further without knowing any numbers? No. Okay. Another thing that it may ask you is to find the area. So if I was asked to find the area, how do you find the area of a rectangle? Length times width. So we plug in what we know. Our length is L, but what is our width? 1/2 of L. So we have 1/2 L. So area equals 1/2 L squared. And could I go any further without knowing what L is? No. Okay. That's a big part, is knowing how to set up. Okay. How do you feel about generally setting up an equation, given information about a rectangle? Wait, so if this was multiple choice, it would ask, pick a equation that would represent perimeter. We would all choose P equals 3L, right? An equation that represents the area. We choose 1/2 L squared, correct? Okay. All right, next, we need to understand consecutive integers, okay? So consecutive integers mean numbers that come one after the other, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Those are consecutive integers. Is it not underneath it?
No,
one after another. How do you represent that mathematically? Well, typically when we represent this mathematically, we would use n, comma, n plus 1. This is one number, and then this is the number that follows after. Does that make sense? Okay. This would become useful if they said find the sum of two consecutive integers. We'll find two consecutive integers whose sum equals 9, right? Does that make sense? What would n have? What are your two numbers? So if I said sum is 9, it would be 4 and 5 mathematically. So n plus 1 has to equal 9. Okay, so if it said find the sum of consecutive integers equal to 9, well, the sum is 9, find two consecutive numbers or integers that will make this true. That means one after another. So mathematically, you represent that this is your first number and this is your second number. So we know that the first plus the second has to equal 9. Does that make sense? So then mathematically, we get 2n plus 1 equals 9. Then we get 2n equals 8. So n has to be 4. And therefore, n plus 1 is 5. So my two numbers would be 4 and 5. Make sense? Yes. Yeah. Okay. It may ask you the product of consecutive numbers, right? Product meaning what? Multiplication. The product of consecutive numbers is, I don't know, 110. What are my two consecutive numbers, right? So that's what it means. So mathematically being comfortable to understand what it means to see consecutive integers in a sentence. Does that make sense? Are we all good on the terminology of consecutive integers? All right. Next, the base and height of a triangle whose height is 3 less than 5 times its base. Okay. So again, we know we're dealing with a triangle. It doesn't say right triangle. It doesn't say any of that, right? So we just need to make sure that we're comfortable. We remember about triangles. So remember, for a triangle, your height is just always perpendicular to your base. This is my height. This is my base. It could be a scalene triangle, or it could be a right triangle where your side is your height, correct? It doesn't matter as long as you're paying attention to the words, okay? It says our height is, and again, anytime we see that, what does the is tell us? It equals. Our height is. So we know that h equals 3 less than 5 times its base, okay? When you're reading this, you need to think about, in math order PEMDAS, what comes first? The times, then the less, right? So 5 times its base. So 5 times its base minus 3. So from here, if it asks me what is the area of this triangle, well, area of a triangle equals 1/2 base times the height. So I plug in what I know. We have area equals 1/2. What's our base? Well, our base is just b. What's our height? Our height is 5b minus 3. Now we distribute the b. We get area equals 1/2 5b squared minus 3b. Okay. That also could be written as 5b squared minus 3b divided by 2, correct? Oh, I just want to add on to consecutive. If it said that I had 3 consecutive, then it'll be in what? N plus 2, because that will be my third number. Does that make sense? My first number is n. My second number is n plus 1. Then my third number would be n plus 2. Okay, that pattern just keeps going if it gives you more than that consecutive. Okay. Next, a very common problem is the area of a square is 144 feet squared. Of what? What did I tell y'all about me going fast? You are my stoplight. You are my yield. If you're not talking to me or responding to me, I assume we're good. Oh, I thought we were done writing. Oh, no, I saw pencils down, so I assumed we were good. Yeah, I was like, I thought we were done. But all right, now using our knowledge here and what we've talked about, the area of a square is 144 feet squared. Find the length of its side. So, and why would that be? What was the key words here? Square. Key word is that you have a square. A square is a rectangle with equal sides. So you know that your length and your length are the same, or the width and the width, however you want to view it, right? They're going to be the same. And it says your area is. So area equals 144. Exactly. That's because you have W times W, which equals W squared. So what would I do to find W? I would take the square root. So W equals, we're just going to let her be her.
I knew what I was doing on my paper.
The width or the length, I meant to put an L, but you get what I'm saying. Okay, so this problem we actually could follow through because it gave us a value, right? It said, this is your area. Find my measurement.
That's not what it said. It said find the side.
That's fun. All right, next shape. The area of a circle is 81 pi square inches. Find the radius. So what is area of a circle? What's that? Pi r squared.
I didn't know what I was thinking.
And it says that this equals what? 81. So this has to equal 81 pi. Find the radius.
What did you divide? What did you square? Wait, so it's just
what cancels out? It's just 9. There you go. Remember, word problems are typically the easiest mathematically.
No, they're not.
Yes, they.
This is not really a word problem. It's like when Sarah has 85 diamonds and she multiplies and divides by 85 times 3 under 8. Like, no. Your extra long word problem.
Well, your due now today was supposed to get you ready for word problems. Because it's where math is applicable to real world. Mm-hmm.